everybody, welcome to the Sugar and Crumbs kitchen. I'm Laura and I am here today as Cal and John are still away, so I've come in to do this morning's baking session. We're going to be making two things today. I think I only really advertised the carrot cake because I was a bit worried about time, but as Harrison is here and he's got his granny looking after him, I've decided to do some scones as well. So I'm going to show you to start off with what I'm making, and then we'll go and say some hellos to whoever's joined us. So today we're going to be making a carrot cake with cream cheese frosting, which I'll show. Here's one I prepared earlier. So in the actual cake I've used the cinnamon swirl icing sugar. So instead of adding all your different spices that you would normally use, we're just going to use this in place of them. It is a really strong flavour, so you can taste it through your cake, and you can use it in the cake and in the cream cheese frosting, but today we're going to be using the orange zest, which is this one here. It just gives a nice balance to the spices in the carrot cake. So we're going to be doing that, and then the second thing we're going to be doing is the scones, and we're doing black cherry scones. I like a nice big scone, as you can see. The recipe that I'm going to do today, sorry if you can hear Harrison, the recipe that I'm going to do today makes 6 or 7 large scones, or if you want to make them smaller, then about 12. So that's them. So we'll just pass them out of the way. So have we got anybody with us, Laura? So just quickly say we've got Laura from the office in the kitchen as well, and we've also got Maria. So hello to anybody that's joined us so far.
Oh, Ella's just popped up to say hello, how is everyone?
Oh, hi Ella.
There's plenty of people with us this morning, a lot of familiar names. We've got Lynn Burgess, V Long, Ria, Kat Riley, Jane Temple, Rob Allen, hi Rob, Maxine, Cherry, Helen, yeah, lots of familiar faces. And as always, if there's any newbies watching us, just introduce yourself and say if you're part of the community, if you use the products, and where you're from, and we'll give you a quick shout out.
Okay, well hello to everybody that's joined us. Thank you for joining me today. I feel really nervous again. I've done this loads of times, but for some reason every time that I do it I just get nervous until I get baking. So just a few things to say about different things. The community that we set up, it's been about 4 weeks now, so it's the Sugar and Crumbs cake community on Facebook. You can join the group. It's a friendly group. It's about sharing your bakes, your cakes, your decorating. We're all at different levels, and that's what makes the community so good, that we can share, we can help and advise people about different things, or any problems that you're having, or things that you've got coming up that you're a bit nervous about. Then it's about that. I've been I was up late last night preparing some of the stuff for today, and I read through quite a lot of comments, and it's just so lovely to see people's different bakes and things that they've been doing. And I feel like everybody that's joined so far has been really good at commenting and liking and sharing things. So we just want to say that's really great that everybody's getting involved. That's exactly what we want it to be, a nice friendly group where we all share, and we, like I say, we're at different levels, and that's what it's all about. So thank you for everybody that has joined. Anybody that does want to join, if you just go and find us, it's the Sugar and Crumbs, is it all about cake?
All about cake
community on Facebook. If you just have a look, ask to join the group, and then we will accept you. So please do have a look at that. After today's session as well, don't forget to like and share. These baking sessions are just about trying to get you involved, get you baking things that you might not bake already, or bake things that you've been struggling with. So it's just an easy session, it's not anything difficult, and I hope that it all makes sense and that I'm not going too fast, because I feel like I'm speaking really fast. But let's get started anyway. So I'm going to start with the scones because they don't take that long to make, but I want you to be able to see the rise in the oven when they've baked. And with the carrot cake, I'm going to make it today, but I have already pre-made one so that we've got one ready to decorate. So you're going to see that go in the oven, but then magically it's going to be baked and cooled and ready for us to decorate as well. So I'm going to start off with scones. So I'm just going to move some things out of the way. And I'm going to grab my bowl, position it hopefully in a good place where you can see. So to start off with, we need 375 grams of self-raising flour for this recipe. So I'm just going to measure that out. I've just got a large, can you see that there?
Yeah, perfect.
There.
Yeah.
I've got a large mixing bowl ready for my ingredients. So I'm starting with the dry ingredients first. So let's just get all that in there. And I'm going to have to open up another packet, which I've got, so there's no problems. It's here. I don't tend to use, if I'm making a sponge cake, then I am a bit more picky about my flour, but when I'm doing scones or carrot cake, I just kind of use the own brands, because I think they're absolutely fine. It's just with my sponge I get a bit picky about it. Okay, so I'll just take a bit out of there. So 375 grams of flour, and that's going to go into the mixing bowl. And then in with that, we're going to add in 75 grams. If you can hear a noise in the background, that's Harrison playing with his toys. He's not on camera today, but he is here. So we need 75 grams of chilled butter. So it is better if it's just come out of the fridge. So we'll just get that measured there. Oh, perfect. Well, 76, we'll go with that. Okay, so with that, you're just going to chop up into cubes. And this is what we're going to use to form a crumb in with our flour. So we're just breaking it up. There. Now, it is a good idea to take your rings off when you're doing this, because it will get all stuck. It's a little bit messy when you get your hands in. So in with that, I'm going to add in 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. One, and the right one, and there you go. And then we're going to get stuck in. So we're just going to go straight in, and we're just going to squeeze the butter into the flour, because we're trying to make the flour stick to all that butter. So you just squeeze in and rub in. Can you see on the camera?
Yeah. Sorry, just made some slight camera adjustments there so you can see a bit more of Laura working.
Yeah.
I'm still learning.
So it's just going to take a couple of minutes to do this. You just need to make sure that you're constantly picking up the butter and rubbing that flour through. So I have already set the oven, it's preheated to 180 degrees, and I've got myself out a baking tray as well, which I'm using one of these
Baking mats.
that I can't remember the name. I just use parchment paper at home, which is absolutely fine, and if I haven't got any parchment paper, I just grease my baking tray with some butter. So you're just going to use something just to stop the scones or scones, whatever you want to call them. I'm a scone person, from sticking to your baking tray. So I've got all that prepared. So we're getting there now with the flour. So any big chunks that you can see of butter, just keep rubbing them through. You just need to make sure it's mixed in. I actually find this really relaxing, which I need this morning because my nerves just get the better of me. And this is probably the only thing that I actually bake and I wear an apron for, even though I forgot it today because I made scones yesterday, made an absolute mess. My apron's in the wash. Okay, so we're there now, that's fine. So just a little dust down. Now you are going to get a little bit more messy in a minute, so don't worry about washing your hands at that stage. I've got 2 large eggs here, and you just pass me a fork, please, Laura? Sorry. There's always something I forget. So we're just going to add in, thank you. Yeah, so I've got 2 large eggs and we're just beating them in the bowl with the fork. And we're going to add all but roughly 2 tablespoons of the egg into the flour because we need some to egg wash the scones before baking. So I'm just going to pour the majority of that in there. And we're just going to save that little bit and pop it to the side. And then in with that, we need 150 ml of milk.
Just ask a quick question. Someone's just said, how do you know if you've over rubbed it?
You can't really over rub it because of the quantities of flour to butter. There's not enough butter in there to get that dough sort of texture. You're just going to get crumbs. It doesn't matter how long you do it for. And yeah, you just know when you can't see those cubes of butter that we put in there, that's when it's ready. So
thank you.
Yeah. So I've added the eggs. I'm adding in the 150 ml of milk, and then I'm just going to use a palette knife just to stir that in. So this is going to create your dough. Now, because I'm making black cherry today, I'm going to add in some cherries. So I'm just going to mix that up a little bit, and then I'm going to add in noisy a couple of cherries. Sorry, Maria. So I've put in the recipe. The recipe's not on yet, but it will be on by the end of today when I get home. You can, if you was making, say you wanted to make blueberry scones, then you could add in dried blueberries. You could do one with sultanas. You can. There's loads of different things. I would use a strong flavour, so things like the black cherry, blueberry, key lime. Those stronger flavours work really well in the scones. So I'm just going to chop up some cherries.
We've got Rob Allen, he's making bacon and cheese scones while he's watching us. Sound good?
Yeah, they do sound lovely. Well, my lunch today is going to be scones and carrot cake. So plenty of sweet today. So I've got my cherries there. I've just roughly chopped them up, and then we're going to use the black cherry icing sugar. Just to add a little bit of sweetness to your scones, because it is going to be a sweeter scone version. So I'm going to put in about 45 grams of the black cherry icing sugar. Just pop that out. Okay, so back to our mix. I'm just going to sprinkle over the icing sugar, and then in with that I'm going to add in the chopped cherries. So if you don't like cherries, you don't have to add them. Like I say, you can use all the dried fruit, or you can just have no fruit. It's all optional. So we just want to get all that flour mixed in, and as you can see, it's getting quite messy on my board. But once you've got to that stage where everything is almost blended, then you can move that over and just grab some extra flour, pop it on your board, and then bring your dough out. Now you can overwork your dough at this rate, at this stage. So you want to be careful that you're not overworking it. So you just want to give it a light knead. So just a couple of minutes, because it dries it out. If you're carrying on kneading it, it's just going to get quite tough.
So it's more about making sure everything's incorporated rather than...
making sure everything's incorporated, and then just giving it a very quick light knead. So Maybe can you just pour me? I should have got some extra dough, extra flour. Can you just pour me a little bit of flour on the side there? Sorry. Thank you. Oh, just a bit more. Okay, so if you're starting to get any sticky bits on your hand, that's when you just need a bit of extra flour. You don't want it to be sticking too much to you or to the board. Okay, so once I've given it a little knead, I'll just kind of spin it a little bit and just check that everything is sticking together. So as I said before, this recipe you can get 7 to 8 large ones or 12 smaller ones. I like a large one, so I'm using this. Are we on that camera?
This one?
This camera. I'm just using my old scone cutter here, which you can use for cookies as well. Most people have one. You can use any size you want. So can you see on this camera?
Yeah, perfect.
One. Okay, so we want I want a biggish sort of scone. So if you can see there, I've got quite a big height on my scone mitts, and I'm just going to start to cut. I like to cut so that my scone is just popping above my cutter, and then I'm just going to chop out there. So I've got 3. And I've got this thing about when I'm using fruit, I like to see the fruit on the top, so I do try and tend to cut where I can see a cherry, or if I'm using sultanas, just so that people know when they pick it up, it is a cherry scone. There's no shock. There, so just a little bit more flour, just a very light knead, just to bring it together again. And then I'm just looking for my cherries.
Just to let you know, we've had Carol Hyde asking, do we have a cream cheese flavoured icing? We don't at the moment, no. I know a lot of people have asked for it, and I do believe we've tried it in the past.
Yeah, we have tried it, but it just didn't come out that well. Some people did like it, but the majority was that it wasn't quite there yet. So it is something that we're working on, but not yet. So I always end up with this last bit of dough. It is still a scone. We're keeping it. I'm having it. Last night when I made these scones that I showed you earlier, there was just this tiny little baby scone, and I had it this morning with my daughter for breakfast. She's not that keen on scones, but we were having it, and we did this morning. I took a little picture of it because it was cute. And this is our little runt scone, but you know, perfectly nice, and will taste just exactly the same as the others. So, let me see, so my hands are a bit filthy, so I'm just going to quickly wash my hands. Just bear with me a second. I'm in a mess. Any questions at the moment, Laura?
No, to be honest, I think most people are just discussing different flavour combinations.
Yeah.
And just to remind people that we do have a couple of new flavours coming out next week. And lemon, blueberry has been discussed for scone flavours, which all sound amazing.
Lemon drizzle is one that I have tried in the scone. So lemon with blueberry, dried blueberries in is really nice and different. And that's what I like. Really, I like to do quite a bit of that's a bit different to what the norm is. And I know I'm doing cherry today, but I am a bit obsessed with cherry. So you want to put these on your board so that they're separated, so they've got some space to get even bigger, which is what we want. So I've ended up, how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 7 large ones, and then I've got my little small one that didn't quite make the big standards. So going back to the extra egg, can you see on that camera there, on the egg that I'm just going to use this little brush. Now, the reason why I've decided to do scones today is because so many of my friends have scones when they come to my house, and they always say, how do you make scones? And I always think that it is a really easy thing to make, but I know that people have really struggled, and I think the main reason why people do struggle is because they over knead it, and then you end up with that hard, dry scone, which is not really that nice. So I think it's mainly about the kneading really. So I'm just giving them all a nice coat with the egg. Just making sure, because everywhere that you put that egg is where it's going to be nice and golden. So if you can get it all on, it's going to look nice. So I'm going to pop them into the oven. Thank you, Maria. And they're going to take about 10 to 12 minutes to bake. So if I start to forget that they're there, can you please let me know, because that is
I'm sure someone will be very kind to comment and give us a quick reminder.
So last night when I said to my daughter I'm going to be making some scones and carrot cake ready for today, she was like, oh brilliant, let's make gingerbread as well. And our gingerbread recipe makes the most gingerbread men that you've ever seen. So it was a non-stop baking in our house last night, which is why I was up so late, because not only did I have 2 carrot cakes and scones to make, I also had a mountain of gingerbread.
Just to quickly remind everyone about the new flavours that are launching next week. So we've got the elderflower and lemon and elderflower. And as most of you are aware, unless you've not been watching the news for the past few months, we've got the royal wedding coming up, and lemon and elderflower is the chosen flavour for Harry and Meghan's cake. And then we also have some other new flavours on their way as well, which are going to be launched next week, I believe. And I'm just waiting for Carol to confirm that I can let you know what they're called. I don't want to give the game away or get in trouble. Sorry, Elaine Lawton's just asking, do you put them on the middle or the top shelf in the oven?
I tend to put them in the middle. Sorry, I'm just trying.
In the middle, Elaine, if you didn't manage to hear Laura.
Just trying to clean up a bit. I've realised while I'm over here that my tin is here. So I'm just getting my tin as well ready for the carrot cake.
Phil Thorne's just said he normally drizzles demerara sugar on the top of them. That sounds like a lovely idea.
Yeah, I have seen that. And
you just give them a bit of a crunch with it?
Yeah, definitely will, yeah.
Lovely. Okay, so thumbs up for the new children's flavours. We've got mermaid, unicorn and llama.
Llama.
So there you go. They will be launched next week as well.
Right.
So you'll have to look out for those being launched. I'm sure they're going to be very popular.
Yeah. They definitely will. Sorry about this cleaning. I'll be done it in just a second. I just don't want you to put the camera on here and it looks an absolute mess and you're thinking, what's she doing?
Well, it is a normal kitchen, and this is what we say. It's baked in a live environment. Yeah. It's a normal kitchen. This is probably amazing compared to what my kitchen would look like if I was in the middle of baking.
To my kitchen that I had last night. I should have took a picture actually, because it was just horrendous. But anyway, so to quickly go over the recipe for the scones, I've used 375 grams of self-raising flour, and to that I added 75 grams of chilled butter, and then I crumb that up. In my wet ingredients, I've used 2 large eggs that I've beaten with a fork, saving some for the egg wash, 150 ml of milk, 75 grams of cherries or sultanas or your chosen fruit, and 30 grams of the flavoured icing sugar that you're using as well. Not forgetting the 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. So that will be on our website tonight, and when they are ready, I will be taking them out of the oven and showing you how you know when they're cooked through.
Just a quick recap on the temperature and how long they're in the oven.
So
please.
180 degrees is what they've set them for, which is the same for the carrot cake as well. And they take about 10 to 12 minutes. Now, the reason I say 10 to 12 minutes, it does depend on your size. So if you're going for the Whopper ones that I've done, then it is to nearer the 12 minutes just to make sure that they're fully baked through. Okay, let's get started with the carrot cake. So I have got some ingredients pre-measured, and I have got some that I need to just sort out quickly. So we are using 250 ml of sunflower oil. Now in carrot cake, most recipes always include some sort of oil. Sunflower oil tends to be the most popular one, and that is to help. Carrot cake is meant to be really moist, and the oil definitely helps with that. So I'm just going to pour in 250 ml of oil and pop that over there, and then I've set up here a mixer with a whisk attachment, because I'm going to add in 4 large eggs into there, the 250 ml of vegetable oil, not vegetable oil, I'm totally lying already, sunflower oil, and then 225 grams of the light brown sugar or light muscovado sugar. Either one, it just needs to be a fine sugar, and I just think that in the carrot cake it just gives it that nice brown colour, more caramelised sort of flavour. So that's going in there as well. You can use a paddle attachment if you wish. I'm using the whisk because I just think it breaks up the eggs a bit better. And we're just going to turn that on there. So while we're waiting, the next ingredients that we're going to use is 300 grams of self-raising flour. And then we're going to add to that 2 teaspoons of baking powder. You're on this one, yeah? Yeah. So 2 teaspoons of baking powder in there. And then there's the cinnamon swirl. And then the cinnamon swirl is going to be our flavouring for the carrot cake, rather than adding all the different sorts of spices. And we're going to use 50 grams of this, which, when I did it last night, is roughly about 3 tablespoons. So we'll just pop that in there as well. I'm no good with these measures, I'm just sort of a guesser. I'm trying to look a bit more professional about it. So all that's in there, into the dry ingredients, and then I'm just going to use this here just to mix that up gently. Probably could have done with a bigger bowl, but just give that a little stir. And then carrot cake wouldn't be carrot cake without carrots. So here I've got 200 grams of carrots, which I've peeled, but I'm just going to grate. Now you can grate on this side if you like big pieces, or you can grate on the finer side. It's entirely up to you. So we're just going to quickly grate those up. Carrots shooting everywhere. And I get it down to this little bit and I can't grate anymore, so we'll just pop it to the side. Chunk. Eat. If you want a bit of veg. Okay, so we're whisking the egg, sugar and oil just to make sure that they're all combined, which they are now. And then that is all you really need your mixer for. So you don't have to use a mixer and bowl, you can do it by hand with a whisk or spatula if you wanted to. Okay, so we've got our carrot. So just bring this over here. There we go. Me and this bowl aren't friends. Never wants to come out. Okay, so let's move the carrot over there. We're back on this camera. So we're just going to add into there the carrot. Scoop all that up. And then you can add into this, optionally, if you want, sultanas, mixed fruit, walnuts, anything that is your personal preference. Mine is sultanas, which I use for breakfast every morning, which is why they're in this So because they come straight from the breakfast table to here. So about between 50 and 100 grams. Which again, I'm not measuring, I'm just doing what I think looks like is going to be enough. There we go. And then we're just going to use the spatula just to mix that in. Okay, and then we're going to add in the flour. We'll just add a bit in at a time, half roughly of that flour mixture. Now I'm not a great big sieve, so you'll notice that everything that I cook, I don't really sieve flour or icing sugar. I think it depends on how long you've had the flour for or the icing sugar, because if it's been open, it does tend to get a bit more clumpy. So you might want to sieve it if that's the case. So we'll just get the other half in. Okay, so the oven for this is 180 degrees, which we've already got the scones in. So what time have they been in? I don't look far off.
About 10 minutes. About
10 minutes.
Yes.
We're going to go with the 12.
They look amazing.
So if I'm quick enough, I might do it. But I don't think I will be. But anyway, so we're just making sure that that's all mixed in, that the sugar, icing sugar and flour is all mixed in. Okay, so I'm getting out of breath. You can tell I don't work out. I think my only workout's in baking and lifting Harrison up and down. That's about enough for me. So I've got my 2 baking tins. So I'm using a 7-inch tin. Now you can line these tins if you're a liner, or you can just use cake release, which is my favourite. So I'm just going to, sorry Maria, spray you. I'm just going to line. It's one way to get rid of it. I'm just going to line them. You need to make sure that you are spraying really well. Make sure you get into all those little gaps and try not to choke yourself in the process.
It is a fantastic product though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just so much easier. I just like to cut a few corners that you can cut. I'm a bit of a speedy baker because time is very limited in my house. So you have to get stuff done as and when you can do it. So my tins are prepared there, and I'm just going to separate this mixture. Sorry, talking around this side. I can't lift the jug the opposite way. I'm just going to try my best to evenly separate this mixture between the 2 tins. So I'll just put a bit into that one, a bit into that one, and then just roughly have a look and see who needs more. It's like sharing out the treats for the kids. You have to count it. One cannot have one more than the other.
What size are those tins?
A bit like Maria with cake. 1 for us, 2 for Maria. Just saying nothing, but she knows. She knows the truth. Okay, so just get all that out. God, this jug's heavy. Woo. Okay, there was 7-inch.
7-inch.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You can use a bigger one, and you can also, if you want to, you can slice the cake into layers if you wanted to. So you can do 2 halves and then slice them into it so that you've got 4 layers. Okay, so let's have a look at these scones and we'll see where we're up to with them. Still messy, even though I've tried to stay so tidy. Okay, so over to the oven. Let's have a look. Oh, you can smell the cherry. We'll just keep that shut. Okay, so I'm just pop these carrot cakes out the way. I will do, yeah. So these are our large scones. This was my one that didn't quite make it, but it's made it. I'm happy with it.
Turned
It's
out
quite
well.
big. Yeah, he's done all right. He's nearly caught up to the others. He's fine. You're all right. You're good. So how I know this is really hot. How I know that the cut is lifting them up and just checking if it's got like a little crust. Now this is still a little bit soft underneath, and what I want is just a little bit more of a crunch on there. So just another minute. It might make a slight difference using this mat though, but looking at the sides, they are still a little bit, just a little bit to go. So we'll just pop them back in.
Going back in.
Just show you on this one actually, so you can see. So on the bottom of this one here, you can see that I've got that little crust, little brown area. Again, I don't cook on these mats at home, so I don't know whether you get that, but that is what you're looking for. You want a nice crispy bottom, crispy bum. It's random what things you come out with when you start.
So you want to rival the Bake Off, I think.
I've actually got two
with
trays
the
here.
soggy bottom.
Yeah, soggy bum, crispy bum. We want a crispy bum. So just lift them up. I've actually got two trays, which probably not helping that much. So just trying to separate them without burning myself. You hear me squeam? I did burn myself. Massive kitchen and there's no room. Okay, sorry, just have to do a bit of adjusting there because I'm putting the scones back in, but I want to get this carrot cake back in as well. So we're going to put the carrot cake in and we're going to cook it for approximately 35 to 40 minutes on 180 degrees. So we'll get those in on the top shelf. Okay, so the power of being ready and organised. Here's one I made earlier. So I've wrapped them up for travelling down from my house. So this is after 35 minute, 40 minute cook. A lot of people always think that your carrot cake's meant to feel really heavy when you cooked it because of all what you've put inside. I always feel that it's because they're so moist that they're lighter, and you can just tell from the underneath here that it is a nice moist cake. So I am happy with it. So I'm going to get a cake stand, and I'm going to just pop the bottom tier on there. And then just while we are getting this ready, we need to make, I'll just give you that, sorry about that. So we're just getting the mix. So again, we're going to make some cream cheese frosting. Now if you don't like cream cheese, then of course you can use buttercream. I will add that to the carrot cake recipe as well so that you've got it as an option. And we're going to use 250 grams of cream cheese. Now I've already opened this one earlier because I decorated that one. If you're going to decorate the whole of the carrot cake inside and outside, then you will need more. You're probably going to need about 500 grams of cream cheese, which depending on where you buy it from is going to be 2 and a bit. Yeah, I think this is 200 grams. So depending on where you get, because I know the Philadelphia one's 180 grams. These ones are 200. So we'll pop that into there. I feel alright now, my nerves have gone, I feel alright. It's amazing how different I feel from when I start. So we'll just put in another 50 grams from this packet there. Okay, and then we're going to add to that the orange zest. Now, orange zest works really well with the carrot cake. It just adds that a really nice zestiness. Other flavours that you can use if you're not too keen on the orange zest is the cinnamon swirl that we used inside the cake. That is another good one, but the orange zest will come out white because it's a white icing sugar. The cinnamon one will give you that cinnamony, brownie sort of look. So just bear that in mind if you've got an idea of how you're going to decorate your carrot cake. So I want to use 75 grams of icing sugar. So I will put on the recipe, I'll add it later when I'm home, just extra if you wanted to decorate the whole thing. Now, a few people have asked me when they're making a wedding cake, would they use cream cheese? And I wouldn't use cream cheese, especially if you're going to be covering it with fondant. I don't know whether people have done before or not, but I just think if you're going to cover it with fondant, you're better with your buttercream. Okay, so we're just going to add that into the cream cheese.
Loads of people saying you're doing brilliant.
Oh, thank you. It's a good job I'm not a presenter or anything, because I think I'd turn up every day at work and be like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I just get so nervous, but I think it's because I'm not really used to having to speak. But when I feel like I'm cooking, I feel like I can tell you what I'm doing because I know what I'm doing then when I'm doing that. So we're just mixing that only to really get it all incorporated. And that's only going to take about 30 seconds. I'm just going to quickly have a look at those scones because they will be done. Just leave them out on the side.
So just to remind everyone, for anyone who's not been able to watch the full live, or has missed any parts of it or just needs a catch up, the full video will be pinned to the Facebook page once we're finished, and then Maria will also pop everything onto YouTube by today, hopefully this afternoon, and the short 1-minute videos as well will be put together so you can do a recap of everything that Laura's done, and you can get the key parts of the recipe and the method of everything, so you won't miss anything.
Okay. So just to quickly show you on, I think
the mats
are stopping it from getting the nice colouring on the bottom, but that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a slightly crispy bottom, not a soggy one, crispy. So I'm just going to leave them out there because they're red hot in my hands, and I'll show you them later. So the carrot cakes, we've got our cream cheese frosting ready, and then how I've decorated the one that I did this morning, I'm just using a piping bag which I'm going to fill with, can you pass me, that's actually, yeah, thank you. Now, you can also, if you wanted to, add into this cream cheese a little bit more of grated carrot as well, if you wanted, entirely up to you. But because I'm going to pipe it and not spread it, I don't want to get any stuck in the bag. So we're just going to pop all that in. Okay, so I've not put the bag yet because I don't want any leaking out on me until I've got it all in and tied it up. So I'm just going to snip off about 1.5 inches off the bottom there, so that's ready. So coming back to the cake, so we're just going to snip off, well, we're not snipping, we're going to cut off the top of the carrot cake just so that we've got a nice flat surface. That's a word I struggle to say. I'm just going to lift that up there, and you can see inside we've got the carrot, we've got a nice moist cake. And you can see just from picking it up that it's nice and moist there.
God knows what, it absolutely smells fantastic in this kitchen today.
Yeah, I'm not going to be the only one that's having carrot. There's going to be 3 carrot cakes by the time at the end of this demonstration. So we might have one each. It might look a bit bigger next time you see us. So this is just the way I decorate my carrot cake. How you decorate your carrot cake is up to you. Some people just spread the cream cheese frosting across. It's up to you. I just like this way. So I'm just going to do some blobs around the edges, which is mainly for decoration, so that when we put that second layer on, you can see it. Like that. And then, because I'm always nervous that I've not got enough, I'm going to do the top as well. And I'm going to count it this time because I did completely wing it before that it was right. 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. Do I want even number or odd number? I'm winging it, but I just don't know. Just so I can put the walnuts on. And then the rest goes into the middle. So we'll just squeeze all the rest into there. So as you can see, if you wanted to cover all the outside, you would need to have more cream cheese to do the outside as well. So I'm just going to use the palette knife just to spread that out into the middle like that. And we want it to be quite flattish. And again, if you wanted to add on some nuts in there or some extra shredded carrot, then you can do. I'm just going to pop on the top like that. And then I've got some walnuts for decorating. But if you're not a nut fan, you can use anything that you want really. I have used those little sugar jellies in the past because the kids love them. Oh, we've done it right this time. The pressure. Okay. And then the last thing that I do is just add on a little bit of icing sugar and let it just fall down the sides like that. And again, as much or as little as you like.
Lots of thumbs up and
go.
love hearts, Laura. Everyone's going mad for this cake.
Well, we could do with some help here. On the eating, we're going to have loads. So that is the carrot cake finished. So the last thing that I need to do is I'm just going to very, very, very quickly make some cream for the scones. So if I can pass this carrot cake. Don't eat it all in one go.
No, I'll save you some. Don't worry.
I'll just get rid of that. Can I have that on the bowl? I see another bowl there. With the whisk, please.
The whisk.
Yeah, thank you.
You've got the whisk.
Oh, I've got the whisk. So, we're just going to use some double cream. I'll just get one of these. I've just got a bit of jam here as well.
Elaine Lawson says, perfect, Laura, you sold that one to me and I will make it later.
Okay, brilliant. Well, if you've ever got carrots left over from your roast, you might as well get them used up.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I've got some black cherry jam here and I've got 300ml of double cream. I can't open. So whenever I'm making anything with cream, I always save a little bit. So even though this is 300ml, and that's what the recipe calls for, I'm going to add all of it apart from probably about 10 to 15ml. And that's just because if anything goes wrong, I over whisk it I've got that little bit of extra cream just to bring it back to life. So in with there, we're going to add a little bit of the blackberry icing sugar. We just need to quickly beat that. I've got a little bit of carrot there. Carrot in the scone. So we're just going to quickly beat that quite fast. You just need to keep, when you're working with cream, you have to keep an eye on it to stop it from overwhisking. It can happen very, very fast. So you're going to start to see some bubbles, and then slowly, well, quite fastly, it's just going to change into a whipped cream. So just keep an eye on it, keep with it. It only takes about a minute. If you're doing it by hand, then you will feel when it starts to get stiffer at that point that it's ready. And we'll want a spreadable cream for our scones. Just while that's mixing, we'll just get one of the scones that I made earlier on the board. I'm just going to chop that into half. So this is where it gets all controversial, because do you put your jam on first or your cream?
Everybody vote now.
Yeah, because I think it has to be jam first. So, because I just don't see how you can do it any other way. So we've got our jam on there, and we're just going to grab our cream. I just need to check. It just needs a slightly bit more, but I did exactly what I told you not to do, which is walk away from your cream. So if you see on that camera, it's getting really thick. But what we want to do is be able to lift it and that cream stick like that. But I'm just going to give it a little tiny bit more.
So the first 4 votes. Oh, yeah. And Rob Allen, jam first. Jam first.
Yeah,
we're okay.
You're on my team.
Jam first.
We couldn't be friends if it was any other way.
I think we're okay.
We're alright, we're alright. So, I've got the cream ready here. So that's what you want, and you see on that camera there.
Yeah.
We just want that nice whipped texture. And then I'm going to did I add the sugar? No, I didn't add the sugar, did I? We're just going to sprinkle in some of the black cherry. Don't have to put too much in, it's just to give it some flavour. And then have we got another spatula? Or just get me a big spoon, that'll be fine.
I'll give you a spatula.
We're just grabbing a spatula. So I thought I'd added the sugar, I haven't, but it's fine because I'll just use it by hand, and then I can just stir it in. Okay. So I'm not being too rough with it or anything, so that it's getting in there, but it's not getting too thick. So you can serve that in a little pot at the side of your scones. Like that. And then just add on a nice big scoop of cream to your scone, and there you go.
Wonderful.
We are finished.
Look fantastic.
So, well, you'll be eating them in a minute, I'm sure. So, is there any questions anybody needs to ask, or
no? But we have started the whole debate.
The debate
I'm
is
sorry.
on. Yeah,
yes.
it's a debate that it
very
always gets its way.
controversial.
It's very controversial. You have to have this debate. It's like the scones or scone. It's just like one of those. It's definitely a scone to me. I was brought up as a scone. I wasn't brought up as a scone. Obviously, I'm not a scone. But I was brought up that it was scones. We made scones, so that's what I'm going with. I'm sticking to my roots with scones. So yeah,
Fantastic.
I hope that you've enjoyed today's session. As I say, the carrot cake recipe is already on the website. The scones I'll be adding today. I'll also add to that carrot cake recipe if you needed more mixture to cover the entire carrot cake, so that you've got that as well, you know the quantities. And I will give you some suggestions as well when I put the scones on, of different combinations that you could use, so you don't just have to do cherry. You can do so much. So just to
take everything over. So
yeah, so just quickly pop everything. We've got some washing up to do today. So just to show everything that we've made here, we've got. Ooh. Can you see that?
Yep.
We've got our scones.
Can we squeeze the cake on?
Squeeze that in there. We'll squeeze the carrot cake here. We've got our cream for the scones. We've got our jam that I didn't make, but you know, you can make it if you want to. Everything is there. You see that?
Perfect. Lovely.
Yep.
Maybe you want to hold the next one.
It's heavy. It's heavy now. I've put it all together. So yeah, so just please, if you've enjoyed today's session, please like and share it with everybody else. These recipes are just about helping you where you might have gone wrong, or to help with ideas on decorating, or just to add a cream or something like that with your scones. It's just very easy baking, and I hope you've enjoyed it. So please like and share on Facebook, and don't forget about our Sugar and Crumbs Facebook page. It's Sugar and Crumbs All About Cake Community. It's very friendly. I'm on there, Carol's on there, and Carol and John will be back on Monday. Facebook Live Monday night is back this Monday, and I'm not sure what they're doing, but they will be there, so please tune in. So thank you very much everybody, and I'll see you soon.